Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of EDU 600. It is right now, it's Saturday, the 11th of February, beautiful sunny day, a little bit windy, but perfectly blue sky today. So I want to welcome you to an early welcome to week number 5. And as you know, our week started on Monday, which would be February 13th. So for those that still haven't been able to get to the coursework this week, you still have a couple more days, and you have all day today and all day tomorrow. So I hope you can get to that. If you need kind of any help with anything, please let me know. So without further ado, let's get right to Module 5 and quantitative designs. But before we get to that, I wanted to just mention to everybody in the class that last week, the beginning of last week, we had a student join us. Her name's Ruth Ann Street, and I would love you to welcome her to our class. She's going to put her introduction in the week number 1 welcome area. So some of you may know Ruth, and like I said, a warm welcome to Ruth joining our class. In the next group efforts that we do, she will be included in one of the groups. She was not for week number 3 because she joined shortly thereafter. So, okay, let's get to week number 5. Week number 5, we're jumping from qualitative research into quantitative research. And with qualitative research, as you know, really the data is... it's words, it's language, it's observation. It's different than what we're going to be looking at in quantitative designs. Quantitative designs, it's about the numbers. And, you know, most of us have participated in various quantitative research polls. You make it a Likert scale, you may get a survey. It could be 5 questions, 7 questions, or 5 possible answers, or 7 possible answers, and you put in, you know, the third answer, and that equates to a numerical value. They analyze the data. So that's a major difference between qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative also, we get into the statistical test, meaning, are the results that we're seeing, the mathematical calculations, the tests that are used in quantitative research, do they indicate that there's some kind of statistical significance in the results? So from that standpoint, I would say it's a little more definite than qualitative research. Some people love quantitative research because it is just that. It's black and white with the results, and if you're using the right statistical test, you will be able to say without question, yes, there's statistically significant differences in the results, just say between 2 groups. So let's get right to it. And as you can see, we have a beautiful sunrise here. The overview video that you're looking at right now, little overview of what we are talking about with quantitative research. And then I mentioned COVID. You know, during COVID, there was a huge amount of information. It's hard to believe that it's 3 years out that we've been dealing with COVID, actually starting in March, and huge amount of information that has to do with what kind of tests people are doing, what's responding. And, you know, we're going to get to in a little while experimental research, which is part of quantitative research. So I provided a link if you want to take a look at that. So in week number 5, which we're in, I'd like you to read chapter 6, chapter 7, and I'd also like you to take a look at these videos. Once again, there's my colleague, Jeff Beaudry. We have a quantitative research introductory article, or introductory video. Something about reliability and validity. So this ties in with what we've already studied, kind of the trustworthiness in qualitative research. Take a look at that. Also, pages 150 in our textbooks. I'd like you to participate. Believe me, I debated, should I keep this in? Should I take it out? Because as you can see, number 4 is we have an assignment due next week, or excuse me, next Sunday. So, which is, 8 days from now. I kept this in because I made it as simple as possible. And I say, participate in the discussion forum. In week 5, we jump into the world of quantitative research. Please post your initial thoughts about this type of research, including, but it doesn't have to include, the similarities and differences between quantitative and qualitative research. Note, there is no need to write a book for this discussion post. 1 or 2 sentences is really what I'm looking for. So I'd like you to, after doing the readings, just get to the discussion post, and I'll show you where that is, and just post 1 or 2 sentences. And I really don't want anything more than that. I don't want this to be a long process. I don't want you to feel like you're burdened by having to participate in this. But just, like I said, 1 or 2 sentences the most. What are some of the differences, or what struck you as being maybe the 1 or 2 big differences between qualitative and quantitative? That is it. Okay, and I go into the statistical part. This is not a statistics class. We do discuss statistical tests, like I said, only from the standpoint that it will help us decipher, are the results statistically significant? And by the way, that is a term that's used all the time. You might say, yep, the results were significant. They might be significant, but when you say in an article that the results were statistically significant, that means something in the research world. So we'll get into that. That's well beyond what we're doing at this point. Okay, the assignment. So what does it mean? What do we critique of the qualitative assignment? Well, first of all, this is, you will use the article that, first of all, everybody in week number 3 was in a group. Ruth was not in a group, but she has selected one of the articles that she will pick. Everybody was in a group, and everybody had an opportunity to discuss. You were assigned a certain section, and everybody was assigned, they discussed their section. And I have to say, in all of the classes that I've taught this EDU 600, the discussions in this class really were outstanding, and I want to thank you for that. I think it was as good discussion forums as I've ever seen in this course. So congratulations for that. So everybody was part of that. And so just say you were assigned data collection for your group work. That is your section. And actually, if you wrote the initial post, now a lot of the initial posts were either questioned or tweaked by your classmates, you can actually use in the critique your actual discussion post that you used, meaning you can largely copy and paste it into your paper. But if you didn't write the data collection section, I really don't want anybody else to be copying and pasting that into your qualitative critique. This is your paper. This is not a group paper. This is your individual paper. So let's get right to it. Here's the instructions. I just talked about that. So if you were in Group B, I'd like you to use Group B. And Group B was making it Facebook official. 1,000 to 1,200 words, so you can see it's not an overly long paper, but it's double spaced. Use APA formatting. And a word on APA formatting, I am not looking for perfection, but if there's certain things that I am looking for, like in-text citations. In-text citations are important, and the references page. The references are included on the last page, and you put references, capital R, on the last page, and you list the references. And in this case, you're going to have the article, and you may reference anything else that was, you pulled your information from, including the textbooks. Oftentimes, people have 2 references. They have the article, and then they have the textbook reference. So you can, use the guidelines when we're in week number 3. You can take a look at those. So here are the headings I'd like you to use. And by the way, these are the same headings that we used in week number 3 for the group work. So that is it as far as the assignment. Please look at the syllabus for information on the assignment, and I'll also show you where that is included on here. Okay, so here's a qualitative. Here's the assignment. As you can see, it's due next Sunday by 11:30, midnight at night. If you need a little extra time, like a day or two extra, please let me know. We can work something out. My goal with all of the assignments is to make sure people have sufficient time to write or do the assignments to the best of their ability, rather than being confined or being, feeling like they have to submit it exactly on that, at the time, on that date. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm really interested in due dates, and I think if you can hit them, that is great. But I will not mark people off if they've contacted me and they need a little extra time on that. So here's the guidelines. So in a nutshell, what you are doing is you are taking your discussions, you're writing an individual critique, 1,000 to 1,200 words, and you're putting the sections that you discussed in a group work into a paper without copying and pasting it in. Let me know if you have any questions on the assignment, you want some clarification. And in the meantime, I think I'm going to, I'll do this today or tomorrow. I'll put an exemplar or two out there, new exemplars, and I'll make sure that you can see somebody else from another class what they did, and they gave me permission to be able to post it. This is wrong. I have to correct that. This is February 19th. So I corrected it up top, but I did not here, and I apologize. So once again, here's the discussion topic. Please, 1 or 2 sentences at most. Don't give it a lot of time. The most important thing this week is the assignment. So that is it for me. 12 minutes, longer than I wanted, and I apologize for that, but there's a lot of information that I wanted to get out there. So with that said, I'm just moving down here. With that said, I will add, oh, I have one in here. Excuse me. I didn't think I had one. I'm going to go to the critique. So here's an exemplar. This is Danella. She was a previous student. She gave me permission to post it. Now, I know what's in her. She wrote it on the Adult Learners Emotion Online Learning. This is her attempt at it. You can see this was done back in 2021. And take a look at how she did it. She put together, she used the titles, but you can use this as a guide. Once again, I'd rather not you copy and paste or plagiarize her in any way. That's a no-no. So you have an exemplar. I'm not going to add another one. And that is it for the week. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you online.